vapetv.com, where you can catch me live Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. This is the first YouTube review I've done in a while. If you follow me on Twitter, you've probably heard about my flip cam fiasco debacle. I don't know that I'm out of the woods. It looks like I'm having some battery issues with the camera itself. So we'll see what we can do. But I am in Manila, in the Philippines, at the Ascot Makati, which you can tell the scenery behind me is much classier than it is when I'm at home. The first review I wanted to bring is a bit of a device review. Today we are going to look at the Storm Tank from Clouds of Vapor. So Clouds of Vapor is also the home of the Map Tank, which is a nice device. I did pick one of those up as well. But today we're going to look first at the Storm Tank, because I don't believe I've seen a video review on this. So if you've done one and I've missed it, feel free to post me a link, hit me a link. I haven't seen it, so I apologize. I think I'm about the first one to do this, but I don't know. I could very well be wrong. A little bit behind with everything going on, getting ready for my big international work trip. So, the Storm Tank is basically a modified CE2 cartomizer. So internally here we have a CE2 cartomizer. This is a 2.4 ohm, so I have it on the silver bullet with an 18650 inside. What it is here is basically a big syringe that's been snipped and plugged up at the end, allows for a cartomizer to slide in and out of here. Then at the top you have a kind of a two-piece design here. Hang on, let me just make sure I don't spill this tank. So at the top we have a two-piece design. It's basically a rubber stopper, about yay big enough to fit in the top of the syringe, and it's got some O-rings on it here to keep it from coming out. And then you have a rubber mouthpiece that slides in that. The rubber mouthpiece also, when it fits in here, will seal up over the top of the CE2 as well to prevent excess amounts of juice from getting in there as best as it can. Bruce claims that you can use a 306 drip tip in here. Now, I might have to try and sand one down a bit. All of mine seem to be a little bit too snug once you get them into this rubber gasket to get in there. So what I find is that putting the mouthpiece into the gasket first makes it easiest to reassemble this. Filling this thing is a breeze. It's nice because you don't need a syringe or anything like you do with some of the other CE2s, clearomizers, or even the Map Tank. All you have to do is take the top cap out. Then you can take a bottle of juice. As long as it's got a dripper, you can tip it on its side, you can drip it right down in here. This is going to hold right about 4 mils of juice. You can see I've got this more or less full. It's filled just up to underneath the white actual atomizer portion of the CE2. You don't want to fill it all the way up exactly to the top here, the black piece, up to the cap, because it's just going to spill over a bit. So once you have it filled, which again is incredibly simple to do, all you have to do is insert this cap back on, and it's a nice snug fit here. It's going to keep it from leaking at all. Sorry, I'm trying not to fat finger this too. Oh, come on. Of course, these things are never as easy to do when you have the pressure of a camera in your face. Okay, there we go. We're getting it in. So it takes a little bit of working in here, and what you'll find is that once you have it assembled, if you look here now, you can see that the mouthpiece is covering the top cap, but not so much that it's going to pinch off the wicks, so juice can still flow into there. This is my first CE2 cartomizer experience. I believe this is a Rev 4 cartomizer in here. It may be Rev 5, but I believe it's Rev 4. I didn't do anything to treat the wicks. I didn't burn them. I didn't rinse them. I didn't snip them, and I certainly didn't fray them out like Jeff, aka Slinger, likes to do. All I did was took this and filled it up, and I've been very happy with it. So put me in the enjoying CE2 camp. A couple of things that I have noticed about this. One, it does produce very nice vapor regardless of the juice you put in. Right now I have it filled with Backwoods Brew's Malty. Don's juices are all about a 70-30 blend, so let's take a puff here. So juice in here is going to vape very nicely. It's going to give you a nice, strong flavor. You're going to get great cartomizer flavor out of this, and it's going to give you some nice smooth throat hit as well. Now, a couple of things here. We're going to talk about wicking. First, I want to talk about the end cap. You will notice here, well, maybe you will on the camera, that it does look a little bit recessed here. The way that mine fits together, the little rubber mouthpiece doesn't fit entirely flush up top, which is a cosmetic thing. It felt a little odd on the lips at first, but I got very used to it. So no complaints there, really. I'm more worried about juice leaking out, which has absolutely not happened with this. This is now about the 4th tank full that I've gone through here. I haven't done anything other than just rinsed it out after use. I've used Backwoods Brew Malty exclusively in it up to this point. So let's talk about wicking. That's been the major complaint here with these CE2 cartomizers, and part of that is just the way that they're built. Obviously, with the juice being down at the bottom and the wick and the atomizer being up at the top, gravity is going to be fighting you here. Gravity is going to not want to let the juice wick up. It's going to want to keep it down. So there's a couple of things that I've found that work really well. When it's nice and full like it is now, you're going to get really great consistent flavor and vapor. If you like to chain vape or take a lot of puffs or drags off of the cartomizer, something I've found that will help speed up the wicking a little bit in between the draws where you're actually depressing the button and firing the atomizer. If you just take some quick puffs, just a few of those, that extra suction seems to help get the juice up the wick just enough so you can take another puff. So that is one trick. Now, the lower the juice level gets here in the cartomizer, the more you're going to have to resort to doing things like tipping it. Once you start getting down towards about half, you'll find that kind of tipping it on its side or at an angle a bit, so the juice gets back up here to the wick at the top of the cartomizer, is going to help you out quite a bit. You almost want to do it both ways, or tip it and turn it. Kind of make sure that the wick gets nice and wet again. Then maybe a quick little puff without firing, and go ahead and vape it. So, final thoughts. The Storm Tank is going to run you $19.99 from cloudsofvapor.com, and it comes pre-installed with the CE2 with your resistance rating of choice. Would absolutely pay that again. This is handmade from a syringe, so each one's going to have a little bit of variance. I'm really enjoying it. Will this ultimately replace your need for a feeder? Maybe, short term. It's a really great option or step between using an addy and dripping to getting to a high-end feeder, maybe a wooden mod, or maybe you're holding out for a fancy mechanically fed device. But when the day is done, I think that this is a solid buy. I would definitely buy another one of these. I may do that. I also bought a map tank, so I will be doing a review of that as well, and then we'll do a comparison showdown of the two of these. I'm really enjoying it. When I got it, I filled it up, and I vaped nothing but this cartomizer for 48 straight hours. Obviously, I had to refill it in there because I did go through the 4 mils of juice, so filled it up a couple of times. Really enjoying it. It's really been a nice experience. Like I said, it's my first CE2 experience, so it's got a little bit of that for me as well. Head on over to Clouds of Vapor. These are a little bit easier to get your hands on, it seems, than a map tank at this point, but I don't think you'll go wrong with either one. Very similar ideas, just different ways of getting there. So, all said and done, the Storm Tank for me is a definite win. This is going to be a great little easy way for me to carry around a bunch of juice and not have to drip while I'm on the go. Will probably supplant a lot of my wet box use while driving. Again, I'm Basilray. You can catch me on Vape TV Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Feel free to follow me on Twitter for show updates, news, general tomfoolery. Subscribe to the YouTube. There's going to be a bunch of reviews, juice, a couple more hardware pieces coming very shortly. Over on ECF, if you have questions, I'm on New Vapor, I'm on Vapor's Forum, and I'm on Vapor Talk, and I like to hang out there at nights as well. Video chat, there's a lot of fun people over there. So I'm accessible. If you ever have questions, just find me. Until then, take care.